Welcome to another episode of Health Your Way podcast, where we discuss health issues ranging from physical, mental, emotional, as well as current facts. Today, we're going to be talking about breaking up with dieting. And please allow me to introduce my guest, Ekaterina. Yes, you have no idea how hard that was for me. I'm so happy. So she's a certified trainer. She's been in this fitness industry for a while now, and she understands the importance of the challenges that we as herself and clients face with foods. So this is why we're having this conversation, because I think, like you as a fitness expert, you understand that without physical health, you need to understand food, and people face challenges with that. So welcome and thank you for being part of this show. Anything you want to add?
First of all, thank you so much for taking me as your guest. That's very wonderful and flattering. I'm just very happy to be here and share my knowledge and stories so that can inspire people who have the same issues that I did, and that maybe it inspires them to start healing as well.
I like that because I think people don't realize, even as fitness experts, sometimes we do face challenges with food. We understand, like you can read the book, you understand, but everybody struggles. And I think as a society, I think we are obsessed with dieting. Like you see dieting everywhere, what type of stuff. Like that's my personal opinion. Do you agree or do you disagree? And if so, why?
I absolutely agree with you. And, this obsession is not coincidental. It's
Okay.
been a whole history of, like from a long time. I don't know the entire history, but like it started with, and also it has to do with different races and people looking differently, also with white privilege, and how it started being not cool. And if you're have a bigger body, that means you're
I
not
know what you
a
mean.
wealthy person. Do you know what I mean? And I was
Yeah.
just like, this is terrible. And when it started, and it just like went into the entire conditioning, and every single girl, the new girl who was born, her mom was already dieting, and it came onto her, and then on the other one, and on the other one. And it's just like it became a norm, but it's not a norm.
No, I get with you. Like what you said was, even it's in a sense maybe white privilege, but I think it's everybody wants to look like what's perceived as beautiful, right? And like if you're
Yeah.
in a different race, like if you are Asian or Filipino or even African American, you may have the extra body there. You may be tinier. You may not have that extra fat in your breast. So you tend to either try and lose weight or add plastic, like just stuff like that. I think you're right. And then as women, we learn from the previous like mothers and mothers and mothers, and because it becomes like a cycle, and which is really sad. And I think for you, you mentioned well, actually you mentioned, maybe I did some research for you and I did see some of your stories, and I wanted to ask you, when was the first time you started dieting, and why did you even go on one? Do you remember why you went on one?
Yes. I also wanted to add to the previous question, actually, it goes
Sure.
into this question as well. Dieting is a very sort of efficient way to distract yourself from other problems that you have, because usually people get obsessed with dieting and addicted to it when it's like a coping mechanism.
I never thought of it that way. Interesting.
And this is exactly why I work with women that have used this as a coping mechanism, because some people, they diet, they get off diet, they don't gain any weight, they're just fine, like they don't have problems with food. But women that I work with, they do have food obsession, and it's never about the dieting. It's usually go deeper. So
Mm,
yeah, so for me, I did have an binge eating. It was
okay.
very severe. So when I started dieting at 15 years old, I went on vacation from school to like a Moscow, whatever, in Russia. And I was going to McDonald's every day, 3 times a day. And I was 15 years old. I didn't think of it because we
Okay.
didn't have McDonald's in my city. It's Russia, like Russia is limited, especially at that time. And I gained like maybe, I don't know, like 10 pounds, let's say. I don't remember how much I gained, but it was a lot for me. And imagine I'm 15 years old. I'm just starting dating boys, and all of a sudden, my body has changed. And I'm like, oh my God, they're not going to like me. And this thing, which was absolutely not the truth, but this is what I perceived to be truth. And I'm like, well, what can I do? I need to get on a diet because it's so easy. And this is how it started. And over the time, over let's say like 10 first years, I not only did not lose weight, because I lost it and I gained, and then gained more, lost it and
Cycle.
then gained more. Yeah. So I ended up being 10 pounds heavier than in the beginning of my dieting journey with all the dieting. Can you imagine how ridiculous is that?
Wow. I think you
Yeah.
know you're right because your diet is short term. When you're dieting, you normally stop doing something. It's a short term success, and then you don't know how to work what you consider regular foods that you enjoy, and then you start binge eating on that because you've missed this for so much. And I think when you after you've been dieting for years, at what pivotal time, I guess what pivotal can't even say the word. At what point in time did you realize dieting was enough for you? And how did you make up with dieting?
So it took me 18 years. Hello.
18 years.
But it's fine. It's my journey. 18.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
when I was 33 years old, and like 33 is like I like the three, and 33 it's a beautiful age, I think, for any human, as any age, but this one is just magical. And I was kind of like thinking already about intuitive eating and researching a lot of things and following people that were doing it. But for me, it just seemed so impossible because I was so addicted to diets. It was a
Okay.
method of control. And I thought if I let go of diet, and I would all of a sudden gain 100 pounds, and that is it, I'm gonna die. This was the fear in my head. And then it was it took me gradually because I didn't have it took me a long time because I didn't have help. But once I hired a therapist and I had additional support, I kind of decided, okay, I'm just gonna give it a go. And if it doesn't work for me, if I start gaining weight, I can always go back to dieting. So I kind of like gave myself a safety cushion to sort
Okay.
of go back to in order for me to make this decision. But obviously I never went back, and I just stopped it and started going a different direction.
So I think for me, what I understood was that at one point you realized enough is enough, and you couldn't break up. So you said you saw a therapist. I think a lot of people don't realize when you are dieting that much, it's not about food anymore; it's mental. And then I'm really it's glad to hear that you said you had to go seek help. And some people don't realize that. Like even we mentioned earlier that you are a certified fitness trainer. At one point, when you had clients come to you, like they want to help you lose, they want you to help, they want you to help them lose weight, but then they have bad relationship with food, and they have to realize that working out is small, but dieting is 20. Like not that eating and realizing what you eat is 24/7, and that's a struggle for anybody that doesn't have the proper tools. So I'm really glad that you got those proper tools and proper assistant. With those assistants, what tools did you use then?
So, well, first of all, the pivotal moment was hiring help because I was researching all of it by myself, and it was just not working. I knew everything, but I needed that support. And also, what I realized is that my problem was to quit dieting. I was afraid of letting go of this control mechanism that I used for so many years. So, once I did that, it allowed me to remove all the restrictions. And once you
Okay.
don't have restrictions, you don't really need to go there. If someone is telling you you can go anywhere else, you probably wouldn't want to even go. If they told you, do not think about the red elephant, this is what you're going to think of. Do you know what
I
I
see
mean?
that. I see that. Like if someone says you can't have that chocolate, you'd be like, okay, I want that chocolate. I want that chocolate. But if they say you'll have the chocolate, you'd be like, it's okay. I don't need that chocolate. And I get it. It's that mental
Exactly.
thing.
And maybe you will, like they've been telling you cannot have chocolate. Now they tell you can have chocolate. Well, you're going to eat a little bit of that chocolate. Maybe you're going to eat more of it. But at some point, you're going to stop. Like it's 100%. It works for every single person the same. It just
I get
someone needs different methods and tools to get there. But it's a human nature. Plus, the first thing I did is that I started eating slower because I'm a very fast eater. So I had to consciously every time choose to eat slower, plus be present with my food.
okay.
Notice
Good.
the texture, notice the smell, chew the food actually. Chewing is amazing.
I think some of you realize it because you were like you're so busy, you're walking, you're eating, and then you look at your plate like, where's my food? What happened to my
Exactly.
food?
You don't even notice that you ate anything.
I like that. And then a lot of people don't know you are a freedom coach.
Yeah.
Sorry, Freedom Food Coach. I think for many people, what is a Freedom Food Coach and how do you help somebody break up with dieting?
So, okay, I just want to mention about intuitive eating, because intuitive eating is included in food freedom, obviously, because
Sure.
you can't follow any dieting protocols. Meaning you can, but it's a different story. It's like for another one. So intuitive eating is basically a method of eating where you
Okay.
listen to your body's physical hunger and satiety cues. So you eat when you're hungry, unconditionally. You allow yourself to eat every single food. There's no bad foods. There's no good foods. Food is just food. You eat what you want, and then you stop when you're full.
Okay.
So food freedom, on the other side, includes everything of that,
Okay.
plus also the emotional reason of like a root cause of why are you dieting in the first place. So I'm specifically talking about people like me who have a healthy relationship with food. Not
Okay.
every single person who diets have it.
Okay. That's fair. No,
So
no,
then,
I like that you made that distinction. I like that. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, and it's kind of your when you work on uncovering these emotional issues that you have, some traumas from the childhood, whatever happened to you, why did you even decide? Why do you think your body is not acceptable? Why do you not like your body? When you have this awareness, you start changing these limiting beliefs that you had, to start changing these stories, all stories that are not serving you, all these unhelpful thoughts that brought you the way where you are today. And then you kind of change that to the opposite ones, to the positive ones and the helpful ones. And then you go from there, because this is a sustainable approach. And for a lot of people, just intuitive eating just doesn't work, because a lot of people like, oh my God, I'm overeating so crazy, allowing myself to eat everything. And well, this is why, because they're not taking into consideration emotional state.
I just want to make sure, for others that, because I want to make sure you get an opportunity to also acknowledge this or talk about this. When we talk about food freedom and coach, it's a combination of intuitive eating as well as looking at the emotional side. But I don't know, is it also a therapist or just a different form of therapist?
Okay, the difference between therapy, yeah, it's good that you asked this question, because a lot of people are confused. Because coaching is a pretty new industry, like especially online coaching. I'm not talking about athletic coaches. So therapy basically takes you from 100 minus 100 to a 0, let's say.
Okay.
You have some sort of emotional distress, you're depressed, or you have some whatever, like mental disorder. They help you bring you to at least like the neutral level and then improve. Coach works with from 0 to 100. Coach takes you specifically to achieve a certain goal.
Okay.
So me personally, I help women end their food obsession and start loving their bodies.
Okay.
So
sorry, go ahead.
It works.
Please.
Yeah, sorry. It works as a therapy, sort of like similar as therapy, because I do have sessions once a week with my clients over Zoom, where we talk, where we do different movement practices. We do breathing exercises. We do meditation. Okay. It's like all around approach that takes into consideration mind, body, and soul.
So no, I get it. I get what you're going with 100%. So for people who are listening, she's not a therapist, okay? What she does,
no, I'm not a therapist.
Yes, no. I want to make sure for people listening, okay? What she does, she guides you with the process and helps you determine some of the root causes you have. At the same time, helping you build healthy food choices so you don't feel like you're consistently at the dieting phase. Did I get that right?
Yes, Katie? Exactly. That's correct. It's just
I want to make sure that they understood.
I know. It's, and it's good that you're asking questions, because if you do have some questions, that means your listeners might have the same questions as you do. Because me being in the field, I don't have questions.
Because right? So this is I've never heard of a freedom food coach. And then when you mentioned that emotional side, which I really think people need, like 100%, like I'm with you on this. Like a lot of people, there's a root cause to dieting. And even then, even you're not dieting, a lot of people have issues that if you're not able to see a therapist, maybe you need someone to help you guide, you need that friend that understands where you're coming from, then that's what she's offering with the guidance of food. With that said, if people are interested in, learning more about what you offer, right? What's the best platform for them to reach you at? I'm
active on Instagram.
Okay.
I do have I can tell you my name and my last name, but it's probably better you put in the show notes or something.
You can put the
But my
Instagram name.
Instagram is Ekaterina.Timofeeva _
Oh, we're gonna have that written down. Don't worry, you guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna have that written down.
I was like, oh my God, I should use some sort of a name that everyone can understand. But I'm like, this is my name. I should embrace it. That's fine.
No, it's good. I'm really happy with that. I'm pleasantly surprised and happy with this conversation because I didn't know, like when I looked up research on Freedom Food Coach, I didn't understand the real difference. But to hear that the emotional side of what you offer, I sincerely think, no, I sincerely know a lot of people need that because it is a diet culture out there, and your services for many people will work. Some, it's up to them. But I'm glad that we're having this conversation because combining that intuitive eating as well as that emotional side and teaching you best practice is a great tool and a great service that a lot of people need. Like as a trainer, I see it too many times, and it's really bad because people are always constantly dying. They're trying like the keto diet, the cane diet, the red pepper diet. Like it's just too much dieting. I think when people are reaching out to you, what should your audience know about you that separates you from apart from others? Like, because I know they used to compete, right? So sorry.
Yeah. Oh, first of all, I used to compete. I know what it's all about. And this is actually why my entire dieting journey got terrible, like got even worse. I had blackout binges where I wouldn't remember what I ate. Do you understand? Like for half an hour, I would be just eating uncontrollably. And when I would wake up from it, I'm like, I don't know what I ate. Like I wouldn't remember what I ate, all of it. I would just, if I had some wrappers, then I was like, oh, okay, this was Reese's, this was Pop-Tart, but then, otherwise I wouldn't know. So it was that bad. So emotional side is very, very important. And it's usually never about the food. There's something that you're trying to cope with and something that's happened to you. And this is why you use food to soothe yourself. But it's never going to work if you only using the food. And what separates me from other, I guess, coaches and I don't know, people in the field is that I do care about my clients' results. And because I'm very loving and kind person, but I'm also very tough. And since I am tough, I'm not letting any bullshit slip away, any stories and stuff, excuses how people are like, oh, this is because of that. No, that is not going to work. And this is why my clients get results. So I have to be honest, being coach is very uncomfortable. I do have a coach myself for different areas of my life. It is uncomfortable. Sometimes I'm like banging my forehead, like, leave me alone. But we only grow through discomfort. There's no other way. If people were comfortable, we wouldn't be as a society where we are today with all the things we achieved in technology and other things. So, and also my method takes an all around approach, which includes mind, body, and the soul. Because only mind work is not enough. You have the body that stores all the trauma, all the limiting beliefs and all the stories. You have to work through the movement, through the feelings and sensations in order to release the old and imprint the new one so they can become subconscious and automatic. And then you just live your life. You just live a different life, better life, good life without any food issues.
I like that. And I appreciate that because a lot of people, it's not what you basically say, it's not cookie cutter. Like I care about my clients and like I want to succeed. And because I care, I'm not going to take your crap. Like you're going to tell me you can't do something, you did something. I'm like, you better just come on. Like I might not be your coach for you. If you can't handle that, I might not be your coach. I get it. And that's fair to say. Like I might not be the right coach for you, and that's okay. Just find the right balance. The goal is for you to find something that helps you. So with that said, I appreciate this conversation because now I understand what a freedom coach is, but even then I understand a lot of people may not realize that to break up with dieting, you have to look at some of the root causes that you have with dieting. And that's the conversation that we had. And I appreciate that conversation because you've been there. And because you've been there, you can teach them what you've learned, as well as apply some of the stuff you learned from being a certified freedom coach as well. Is that fair enough to say? Did I? that presents you the way you should be presented.
Yes, 100%. This is perfect. I appreciate our conversation as well, because it's very important. And, you know, as many people, they don't know. Many people are not aware, and they just keep on struggling for so many years for absolutely no reason.
And I think, just to step back, I think a lot of people, don't get me wrong, dieting works short term. But when you come off the diet, if you haven't learned the skill set or haven't addressed some of the core issues of yourself, or why you were that big, or why you even that's why she's there. That's why somebody's there. If you can't reach out to her, reach out to somebody, because when it comes down to it, this is your life. And as you mentioned, having a coach is not easy. I have my own coach. Sometimes I'm just like, don't bother me, don't bother me. But when it comes down to becoming a better person, you may need that assistant. And that's why, if you have any questions or any questions in respect to what she's offering, feel free to reach out to her.
Thank you. And I just want to say, because a lot of women, they're afraid, as I was afraid of letting go the old, the familiar, even though I was miserable. But it's scary to let go of what you get used to. And it took me so much time just because I didn't have help. And my program is only 4 months. And in 4 months, you transform your life and relationship with food and body completely. It just doesn't take even long. You know what I mean? 4 months, you have a different life. It's amazing.
But you have to want it, and please listen to you have to want it, and you have to put the work in, because she's not going to take your crap.
Exactly. Nope.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today on our weekly episode of Health Your Way podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with others, and please feel free to comment below and ask any questions on topics we discussed, as well as future topics you'd like to hear about. Have a happy and healthy week, and be sure to tune in next week for the next episode on a Health Your Way podcast.